Imagine this, you're in a meeting and someone says, hey, we should add AI to our product. Everyone of course agrees and nods, but no one actually knows from where you need to start. 3 weeks later, you're drowned in tools, prompts, agents, multiple tabs open in ChatGPT, and still you don't have a product to show up. Does that sound familiar to you? Hey, I'm Alex, the CTO of Codelevate, and with over a decade of software development experience, I'm here to show you the exact first step that we take when we are designing and developing AI agent systems. The step that I'm about to show you, we take with every partner that wants to integrate AI, either completely from scratch or in their existing software platforms. This is not just brainstorming or buying another API. This is a well-structured method that sets you for success when you're actually starting to develop your AI agent systems. And by the end of the video, you will go from let's build an AI agent to here's the agent, the workflow, and the data needed to achieve this process. Stick around because this one step can change everything for you. So to start first with the steps that we're taking through the whole process of defining the AI agents that can be developed. What you're going to see here is a multi-step process that we follow that is a proven strategy to make sure that before we start developing anything, we are set for success with all of the information that we need. In this video, I'm going to go through every step that we are taking, go into the details and what are the different deliverables of each step, and how we work together with you to make a very clear plan of what needs to be developed, and how this system, even if you're not sure what you can develop with AI and how AI can integrate with your system, this framework provides you the processes and questions and steps in order to have a clear picture at the final stage, which is a document that's delivered with a full architecture and explanations of what can be built. Stick around because at the end of the video, I'm going to show you a real document from a real customer that we have gone through and integrated AI into their SaaS platform, and how they have cut the time of an existing SaaS process with 80% using AI agents and also expanding the features that they allow their clients to use. Let's jump in. So here, the step that you're seeing is we always start with 2 to 3 hours discovery workshop. Why we do this is because we want to understand if it's an existing platform that you want to integrate AI, what are these processes, and if it's an idea from completely from scratch, we help you define it better with our expertise and experience in building such systems. What we are actually talking within this AI workshop, here are some of the main outline points that we go through our questionnaire and framework in order to clearly define and obtain the information that we need in order to proceed with the next steps. First, when we are discussing your process, we are clearly defining what are the goals that we're setting, how we are defining success, why we are here, and who is the final stakeholders and users that are going to utilize this product. Then we are moving towards the project overview, where we define the main features, the user journeys, and the personas. In this case, the main features could be already existing features that you have on your platform, and the user journeys can also be that, because that defines us and helps us how these processes, through usage of AI and LLM models, can be redefined and can be used as an extension to your current process. Within that workshop, very importantly, we define the pain points and drivers of your existing users, usually defined by the user journeys and the features, and of course the feedback that you have received. Here we can define some manual frustrations. We know that AI is great at automating boring and manual tasks. We define do we have any data bottlenecks and things that we need to define before building the AI agents. In case could be missing data or data that we need to obtain from external sources. And we are defining new opportunities that we can see through the usage of AI and with our experience and expertise to set some high level already mock-ups of what actually can be achieved. Very important in any type of AI project is you need to define what is the available data input that we're going to provide to the agent and what is the expected output. And now with AI, actually you can define it at what is the expected outcome that you need in order for us to define the two main points, the beginning and end of the agent workflow. Of course, that will help us define then the middle part of what needs to happen with the AI agent in order, with the information that we're getting, produce the information that is expected by the process. So this part is very crucial to spend enough time on it to define these flows. Then we are starting to map already some of the processes that can happen with AI. Where are some of the failure points and risks that AI can cause within that flow, and how that can be an extension, sometimes even replacement of the current flow. Within this workshop, we are also starting to define some of the agent's capabilities, what actually this agent should be specialized in. In some cases, we can very easily define some of the system prompts. What are the tools that we need to create or obtain via open source? And what are some of the constraints that currently LLM has and AI agents in general that can cause some limitations within the process that we want to define? All of this within this workshop, we're trying to educate you as much as possible what are the possibilities of using AI agents within the goals that we have set. And of course, very important, what we're having here is how we are going to monitor the performance of the agents, how we are meeting the targets with the metrics and compliance, and how we are going to secure the data that is flown through the agents, and of course the hosting of these agents. So what you're seeing here is the outline topics of the workshop, a really proven process that helps you define exactly the information that you need in order to move to the next step, which is the designing and more of the details of building an AI agent, sort of the architecture of the AI agents and the whole system around it. These steps are asking the right questions even if you don't know the answers to them, and it starts making you thinking more deeply through the process to understand what is really possible after we design and build these agents. If you skip this step, you're actually building an agent that answers questions no one is asking. And this is also from our experience what we see a lot of people get this wrong. Even after they have spent 2-3 hours in such a workshop, they want to jump straight into building. And that's a big mistake. Instead, what we do is we take all of the information that has been provided in the workshop and gone through the framework, and we go with our internal design and architecture team to do the research and the technical feasibility and analysis in order to start designing the agents and tools and data architecture in order to achieve the outcomes that we have set in our workshop. In addition, we are using mock-up data exploration process, simply just using ChatGPT or Cloud to start mocking up the inputs that we know we have and how we can prompt and design the agents in order to produce the outputs and outcomes we have defined in our workshop. Consider this like the POC of your agent. So you have to think of this as prototyping, the thinking process before you actually start writing any production code. We literally fake the agents using ChatGPT in order to define the prompts to actually see what is feasible of building this flow. During this internal and design architecture, one of the outputs is the first draft version of the document that is delivered to explain the architecture of these agents and what needs to be done in order to build them successfully. The document, as I'm going to show you a real example at the end of the video, contains the proposed agents and their decision flows, the data input and output that's required, integration points, limitations and assumptions, tools that has to be used, and the technical stack that we need in order to host and run these agents. And actually many more connected with project delivery, estimations, etc. And this is the stage where we're moving to workshop number 2. In this workshop number 2, what we're focusing on is making sure that we present to you the document and our findings and our suggestions. That is an opportunity for us to brainstorm together and collectively think through the processes and combining our knowledge of you, of your business process, of your goals, and our expertise in building AI agents to produce the perfect architecture that is setting up our building process into a success. And we have a clear plan of what needs to be built, and everyone is aligned between this common goal. Within the workshop too, we usually have some sort of feedback and clarifications that we need to do. And our team goes and using that information from workshop number 2 and the information so far, we make a final refinement of the document. So as I mentioned to you, I'm going to show you a real case that we have gone through this process that I shared. Discovery workshop, internal design architecture, workshop number 2, final refinement, and the document delivered. But before I do that, I want to explain to you a bit about what is actually the process that we were integrating with AI. The platform for which we did this process is SwapCard, which is an NFC business digital card for networking. SwapCard provides a service for their users that via their platform, they can create digital business cards. Usually these processes are multi-step forms where users can fill in basic information like email, phone, contact information and details, and add additional parts like widgets, coloring, etc. to design their landing page. An additional feature that SwapCard provides is allowing to record contacts into your system. These contacts you can imagine are within some interaction, or actually you can obtain them from your landing page and collect information within the system. So these two processes out of our first workshop was the perfect candidate to enhance and build AI agents for them. What we wanted to do is enhance the process for creating your digital business cards and also the process of creating contacts. And we managed to do that within two very similar processes. What we did is we allowed users to upload an image. You can imagine this image could be a picture of another business card, it could be a picture of an event card, or actually it could be a QR code. When that image is uploaded within the formats that we discussed, we trigger a serverless API, and you will see me that in our channel we have talked a lot about serverless and how cost effective it is because you're paying only for what you're using. And that's one of the methodologies that we use here. And that API triggers a ChatGPT with a custom prompt to get the image and extract the text from the image. If you imagine a business card that we take a picture of it, the AI agent will see the picture and extract all of the information from that business card. That information is provided in a markdown text where we pass it to our agent who has the tools and prompt configurations to reason based on the information that's provided from the image and based on the output that is expected from the platform API, provides a reasoning to map the information and return the exact structure, output structure, that the SaaS platform needs, the API of the platform needs, in order to record that in the database and actually create the card. And one of the most important tools that we use here is Pydantic AI and its ability to instruct and validate the outputs that agents produce. That makes it perfect for production cases and minimizes the error, in more cases even removing them based on hallucinations or incorrect outputs. As I mentioned, the final output is a JSON and data is written to the database. And you will see here that in the next process, we actually have used almost exactly the same components, which made us actually deliver this much faster, but we have molded to work with QR code images. So the process is very similar. A QR code image is uploaded, the serverless API is triggered, but here we actually add two additional processes. We are decoding the QR code. In most cases, these QR codes return a URL to a website, We validate that it's a URL to the website, and we get the HTML from that URL. What you can imagine, this could be a personal landing page, it could be some website that contains some information and anything that could be relevant. That HTML, using additional tools, we create a markdown text that's easy for the agent to reason. And again, the steps after that are exactly the same. The agent uses that information and reasons based on the type of output that we have defined, what data they need to map to which key. And again, using these pedantic AI and processes, we're able to validate the output information and making sure that the data that we write in the database is exactly what the platform expects. And here is the document that I mentioned is the final delivery that is received from this whole process that we just described. The document contains a lot of additional information that is relevant for the project itself. But the points that we need to cover and are very important for the process that we just described are, we have a quick overview of this document. The idea is that this information can be picked up by any developer who knows how to develop AI agents and know the exact architecture and plan that needs to be executed and built in order to succeed with the goal that has been set. So you see here that we provide what are the main outcomes of the workflows and the workshop that we have done. Some key considerations that you can see of the tools and process that we are going to be using. Then having the actual background that has been obtained via these meetings to understand exactly the system that we are working in. Then, very important, as you remember within the workshop, we had the pains that we're trying to solve and the pains that we're searching resolution for. And you see here that these are some of the pain points that we have identified with SwapCard within the workshop that we had. Here we had like eliminating repetitive tasks, improving the speed and accuracy of data capture, and enable more modern and scalable features using AI. We defined very clear objectives of what we want to do, like automated data extraction, QR code interpretation, streamlining the manual entry, and establish a modular agent framework. What that means is that we can expand it to other tools, especially once we set all of the baselines and all of the tools that we need. Then we have a clear project scope that defines what is the deliverable, and of course, clearly defining what's not in scope for this project. A workshop summary that describes what we have tried to achieve and what we have discussed. A very clear description of the existing process that have been defined. And here are the processes that are perfect for AI and what we have defined as the goals that we want to achieve. So here in this case, as I presented to you, we have the cart flow creation, and then we have the contact creation flow. And what is most important is the proposed process. You will receive a document that explains what are the inputs that we require. In this case, we only needed an image URL and a user ID. And then what is the exact data output that we will be creating with this agent, and a very high level process of the steps that we will take in order to build that. In addition, each agent that we have defined, we provide you with a mock-up prompt that can be used, the tools required in order to achieve and build this agent, and some of the use cases that this agent will be used. And you can see here that we have multiple agents defined within that process, and each of these agents have defined data inputs and outputs, and the process flow that requires in order to complete that. In addition, you have a full technical architecture that we're proposing. Usually, if it's already an existing system that we are attaching or building AI agents, we synchronize with that system and environment and use the technical stack required, or we integrate seamlessly with the technical stack that you're having. You see that we are defining the compute that's required, as I mentioned, serverless for cost effectiveness, the LLM models that we're going to use, some of the storage where we're going to save that information, and of course the security architecture and practice. And we have a whole page only dedicated for security and compliance and how we're making sure that all of the steps that we're building are compliant with your platform. And here we have the project deliverables, so you know what are the deliverables required in order to achieve, again, the goal that we have set for this project. In addition, within this document, you are receiving a full project overview and timelines of what will be needed in order to develop the project. And in the case of SwapCard, this whole process took us only 2 weeks, including the multiple workshops, the time to communicate and of course think through the process correctly, and another 2 weeks to build this full process in order to expose an API that SwapCard can call and use these AI agents. So now you know that chaotic AI brainstorm with this single step can be turned in a well-organized process and document that completely describes what agents and how these agents should be developed, and a complete plan that sets your building process for success and eliminate any ifs or unknowns. If you're planning to build AI agents or integrate AI agents into your current platform and you want to avoid wasting time, eliminating confusion, and keep the scope within your budget, make sure that you start here. I hope this video has showed you the essential step that you need to do before building any AI agents. Thank you for watching, and leave a comment if you want to learn more.